How's it going, guys? Your average student here. So what I have for you guys today is my full review of the Google Pixel 3a. Now, as I may have mentioned in my previous video, I'm pretty strongly considered an Apple sheep. I've used iOS devices since the iPhone 4S. I have the Apple Watch, I have a Mac, AirPods, I have the iPad Pro as well. And so I'm really heavily invested into the Apple ecosystem. But it was until recently, after the iPhone 10 and the 10s and what seems to be what the 11 is going to be, I kind of got tired of Apple repeatedly just kind of making incremental upgrades and relying on the ecosystem to keep people attached. And so that led me to want to go ahead and dive into the world of Android. Now, I haven't used an Android since I believe it was the Note 4 or the Note 5, and my view of Android from then to now has changed completely. Let's get into it, folks. So the Pixel 3a was my first attempt at getting back into the Android ecosystem. I used this as my daily driver for the good part of 2 weeks. I went ahead and bought it from Best Buy for $3.99, and yeah, I have it set up with all my applications and been using it for non-stop ever since. And I consider myself a pretty heavy user. Throughout the day, I use it for navigation, I use constant text messaging, lots of social media, and every now and then I'll go ahead and play a couple games. And I say that to bring me to the first point about this phone, the battery life. The battery life on this phone is excellent. I consistently get about 6-7 hours of usage, and that's really good with my usage. From what I've experienced, I usually end the day with about 15 to 20%, and I can't get anywhere near that on my iPhone 10. So okay, battery life is great, but obviously with the phone, you want more than just the battery would be great. Now, let's talk about the second thing that really impressed me about this device, and it's the display. Now, I don't say that because it's the best display I've ever seen, although I do prefer it over the iPhone 10 screen. I bring up the display because you gotta remember, folks, this is a $400 device. For $400, you're getting a 1080p OLED 5.6 inch display. And not just that, yeah, you might see it has a lot of bezel around the device, but that's also because you get dual speakers. It's bright enough in direct sunlight, the blacks look good, the colors really do pop because of the OLED, and it's really great to see that they didn't skimp out on display for a $400 device. And when I'm liking this display more than my iPhone 10, which retailed at $1,000 when I got it, that's saying that Pixel is doing something right. Now, but it's this camera. This camera is awesome. Let me just say that out the box. I'm going to post a couple pictures for you to see. But essentially what you got to know is Google's working some software magic. Needless to say, this is my absolute favorite smartphone camera, and many other tech reviewers have it as its #1 smartphone camera. And to have that also on a $400 device, it's fantastic, folks. But yeah, the colors look very accurate. It has really good dynamic range. And if you're into bokeh effects, this device is probably second to none in that regards as well. All right, and now the fourth thing that I really liked about this device is the build quality. Now, that might surprise you guys. I might have said in my unboxing video that it kind of felt like a toy, but when I said that, I really didn't mean it in any derogatory manner. It feels really good in the hand, it fits really nicely, and it's a lot less dense than my iPhone 10. I think if you got the black color, it might show scratches more, so I really like this white color. And on top of the white color, you have this really nice orange power button. In the 2 weeks that I've used it, my display hasn't gotten really any noticeable scratches, nor the back of the device. And I honestly think this device size is perfect for one-handed use. This is by far one of the most comfortable smartphones I've used one-handedly. And talking about the build quality, we have a really good, fast, accurate fingerprint sensor on the back. Again, we have that power button and the volume rocker on the right side of the device. We have a USB-C charging port with stereo speakers, one on the bottom, one on top. We also have a SIM card here, and then we have a headphone jack. Now for me, the headphone jack isn't a deal breaker because I personally use Bluetooth headphones a lot, but it is something great to see. And if you're worried for $400 you're going to get bad build quality, that's definitely something you should not worry about. Now lastly, my experience with the software has been great. Now this is what I was really mainly worried about. How could I, an Apple sheep, transition from several years of usage of iOS devices to Android? Well, obviously my Apple Watch didn't work, but it allowed me to wear my previous wristwatches that I used to wear all the time. But this Android experience has been very great from the beginning. It's very smooth. It's never crashed on me once. It's a great experience. I love the skin. I love the customizability. I love being able to change my icons. And it's a lot smoother experience than what I think a lot of Apple fanboys really realize. And I consider myself that Apple fanboy. I just wanted to be able to experience that part of Android because I was growing frustrated with Apple's continuous, what seemed like stagnance, and on their innovation with their mobile devices. So yeah, I definitely do every now and then miss iMessage. I've been able to manage it with just regular SMS and WhatsApp, and Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook messengers as well. And yes, I do miss AirDrop. AirDrop was great transmitting big files in between my devices, but I've still been able to manage to make it work. Google Drive handles that a lot as well, and you also have Google Photos. Needless to say, there's workarounds for everything. And so yeah, building on that, this device is very, very snappy, and it's really impressed me what you could get for $400. On the tech side, it has a Snapdragon 670 processor paired with 4 gigabytes of RAM, which might seem very underwhelming. Paired with this great software, it's never hiccuped on me once. I get to play all the same games such as Vainglory, Clash Royale, whatever it is you want, PUBG, Fortnite, and still get really good frame rates. In many cases, this device actually loads apps and opens stuff way faster than my iPhone did. So what are some things I wish they would improve about this device? Well, for one, while I don't mind the big bezels around the display, I do wish that they managed to trim it down a little bit. I want them to keep this form factor. I feel like it's great for one-handed use, but I feel like they could maximize some of those bezels and just make it more future-proof, make it look more 2019, 2020. A second thing that would be great would be wireless charging. That is something I do use often, and I feel like it'd be great to have. But in all honesty, at this point, guys, I'm just nitpicking here. The truth is the Pixel 3a is a really great device, and I think it sets the bar for what a phone should be in terms of value. For me, this is the value king, hands down, and this device has really made me want to stay in the Android operating system. And that to me is saying a lot. So will I keep the Pixel 3a? Well, since I purchased it with my own money, I actually won't be, sadly. As much as I've loved this device, I really do want to keep it. But I'm gonna wait until I have a little bit of extra cash, and I really want to test other Android phones out as well before I decide to fully commit to a single device. Overall though, I give the Pixel 3a a 9.5 out of 10, with the only points being lost are from the missing of a few features such as wireless charging. But this phone has been a great experience. And before I end this video, I actually wanted to touch upon one more thing, and that's the 64 gigabytes of storage that comes on this device. Now, to a lot of people that might seem like a little bit, but I promise you with Google Photos handling the storage for your photos and videos, this device has not given me any problems in terms of memory storage. I have a bunch of applications, a bunch of photos, a bunch of music loaded onto this device, and I've never had any issues. So I definitely recommend the Pixel 3a if you're on a budget, or not even on a budget. If you just want a great phone that can do everything really well and not break the bank, the Pixel 3a is definitely something you should consider. So that's it for me, folks. I hope you enjoyed this review. Leave a like, leave a comment for what you want to see in the future. Please subscribe, and I'm going to do my best to come back and bring great videos to you guys. Your average student out. Peace.